Hi, my name is Scott Thompson, and this is my final reflection video for EdTech 501 Spring 2013 semester. I want to start off talking about the goals that I had at the beginning of the semester. My first goal in this course was to start a framework that will allow me to stay organized throughout the program and make creating my portfolio a painless experience, which I believe my EdTech learning log is that document and will continue to be easy for me to update, and when it comes time for me to make my portfolio, will be absolutely perfect. My second goal for the course was to identify a digital divide issue in my school and come up with a feasible solution to those issues. I've been working with a few people in the technology department of my school, and I think we're working towards a few things that should make technology more accessible to my students, as well as getting some training for additional staff members to take advantage of the technology that we have available for them. My third goal was to develop an action plan for effectively implementing more technology into my classroom that's accessible to my students. I think I'm well on my way to bringing technology into my classroom a little bit more, especially given the resources that we have at my school. I'm not quite exactly where I need to be or where I want to be, but I'm making progress, and things are moving well. On the main page of my EdTech learning log, you can see my welcome statement as well as a picture of myself and my lovely wife on our wedding day. You can see my recent posts over here. The AECT standards that I've hit during my time at EdTech 501 and 502. You can see which posts kind of match up with those. Down below I've got a calendar of posts as well as some different tags that I've put on different posts that I've made. The About Me tab tells you a little bit more about myself and where I came from and what my background is. There's a picture of me working with some students on a lab that I actually wrote about as an additional artifact. Here's part of the AECT standards that I've been addressing throughout this course and some different things that it lines up with. You can see that obviously there's a lot of work still that needs to be done. However, this is a start, and this will help making my portfolio at the end a little more easy to organize. The EdTech courses that I'm currently enrolled in are EdTech 501 and 502. Through this link you can find the syllabi for each of these courses. The first assignment we started in EdTech 501 was the RSS in Education assignment. I made an RSS feed out of current events in physics. What I did was I posted this on my class website and allowed students to see just kind of current events that were happening throughout the world. I want them to realize that physics is happening all around us and that it's very accessible, and the things that we're learning in class are applicable in the real world. The next assignment was a research project. I chose to research technology in the physics classroom. As a physics teacher, I'm always trying to get more technology involved in my classroom, and this is something that was pretty near and dear to my heart. What I found was pretty encouraging. I found that a lot of the things I'm trying to incorporate work really well according to the research. Students tend to learn better when they have more interactive lectures using feedback devices such as clickers. I'm using a really cool technology called Socrative, where the students can reply right on their cell phone devices or iPods or any kind of mobile device. Another thing that works really well that I found, and I've tried to get more involved in my classroom ever since doing the research, was the computer simulations in physics teaching. I've been using the PhET labs from the University of Colorado, and they've worked really well for some labs that are kind of hard to see due to size constraints or space constraints or lack of resources in my classroom. The next assignment was about challenges in using technology in schools. We had to create a video that had a conversation between two different faculty members at a school, and I chose to do mine about the flipped classroom. I was first exposed to the flipped classroom about a year and a half ago when one of my colleagues started doing this to her classroom. I was really impressed with how well it worked, and I was really impressed with how much the students really enjoyed it. They would watch lectures at home and come inside to the classroom to do their homework rather than doing it at home. This allowed them to ask a lot of questions they wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity to ask in class, and I really enjoyed the fact that I wouldn't have to have a lecture session every single day, and they could still pick up on new topics. The students could go back and learn about those things that they kind of maybe missed or needed to brush up on at home rather than having to ask me in class. It was a better utilization of class time, and I'm looking forward to doing this once I find a way to do it with the resources that the students at my school currently have. The digital inequality assignment was pretty exhausting. There's a lot of information about the trends in digital divide, but I really was a little bit discouraged when I polled my classes about how much access they had to the internet at home. There's a lot of my students who only had access to the internet on their mobile devices, just through their cellular network. They didn't have access to a computer of their own, or maybe not even a computer at all. This wasn't really an ideal situation for where I was at and what I wanted to do with my classroom. Like I said, I eventually want to flip my classroom, and if they don't have access to the internet, this will be a challenge that will be tough to overcome. The digital divide, as Zion Benton is the video that I made to go along with it. I really liked this technology of being able to do a PowerPoint presentation that was narrated that people could watch online. I really want to do something like this when I actually do start flipping my classroom, and this was a great help as far as working towards reaching that goal. I really loved the technology use planning overview assignment. One of the reasons I think I enjoyed it so much was I found that there's a lot of people out there who really agree with the way that I think things should be as far as technology use planning. One of the things I really appreciated was that there are people out there who see that there are a lot of reasons not to have a 5-year plan, but rather to have shorter goals and to break that down into smaller parts, finding smaller attainable goals that kind of work towards a more overall goal that they're working towards in the future. I really love the technology use planning overview assignment. I found that there's a lot of people out there who have similar views as mine when it comes to planning for the use of technology inside of schools. I found that the use of a 5-year plan is not really all that beneficial to many schools, but rather breaking it down into smaller steps and having more of a 1 or 2 year outlook with overall 5-year goals seems to be a great plan. I also found that there's a lot of people out there who think that a lot of money is kind of wasted on cool technologies because it's trendy or it's kind of cool at the moment. And I found that by kind of planning for what teachers think they need to accomplish rather than what technology can we use to benefit the kids really seems to be the way to go. The school environment evaluation assignment was a bit tough for me. I knew what I was getting into and what I think I was going to find, but I wasn't exactly prepared for the reality of the overall situation. I found that most of our areas that we're working on tend to be inside of the islands category if you take a look on the survey sheet that I have here. There are some that are still emergent, there are some that are a little more in-depth, however most of them are in the islands category. Due to our current economic situation in the school and just the breakdown of the students, there's not a lot of funding and not a lot of resources. But I found that the biggest overall impact that we could really change and have a good effect on the school would be the implementation of some training for a lot of the teachers. Because there's not a lot of money, we can't require the teachers to have a lot of training, and so they don't really sign up for it as well because there's not really any benefit to doing it other than having the training. So I'm working with some people to come up with some ideas for shorter workshops and to get our numbers on the training sessions a little bit higher. My first additional artifact is on a GradeCam presentation that I did for Physics Northwest. I went to Physics Northwest, which is a meeting of all the physics teachers in the area, and I presented about this tool called GradeCam. What GradeCam is it is multiple choice answer sheets. It does item analysis, it does student analysis. Well received when I presented it, and I'm super excited about using it in the future and trying to convince my my administration to bring it to a more district level use. For my second additional artifact, I chose to do my Accelerated Student Lab. What the Accelerated Student Lab is a modernization of an old lab that was done previously to teach acceleration. What I did was I combined many different learning styles into one activity that also utilized technology and got the students very interested. The students would go outside and run in their work groups, and someone would record. They would then use video analysis software to analyze the run patterns, as you can see down in this picture over here. What you can see is they were able to get a velocity line and an acceleration curve and see what exactly the student was actually doing. What this helped the students to do was to see what the relationship between velocity and acceleration actually is. Before this, they would have trouble understanding how you could possibly have a positive acceleration but be slowing down, or a negative acceleration but actually be speeding up. At the end of each unit, I have them fill out a survey, and this was the top-rated lab that we did during this unit. A lot of the students said they didn't fully understand acceleration before this, and it was a great success.